Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining my session in this awesome Devoxx Friends conference. And this talk will be about incident management, and specifically how to not only talk the talk, but also walk the walk when it comes to incident management. And I now understood that I need to be here. So, when I was in high school, the common belief was if you actively listen in class, then you'll have the like 50% of the exam prep already in your pocket. I want to show you how I adopted this belief to an actual proactive approach that you could take that will help you manage incidents more effectively, more efficiently, in a more structured way, and eventually preserve much needed hours of sleep, because we want our systems to be stable, but we also like our time of sleep. And I'll also cover the structure process to handle an incident, any incident that will happen to you, and cover some traits, like your traits, personality traits that you need in order to be a good incident manager, and how to improve them, and basically, and the most important thing in this entire talk, in my sorry, I'm a bit. The most important thing is the proactive approach. The proactive approach is things that you can do in your day-to-day and after a fact, after an incident took place, in order to already come prepared for incidents. So we will see. But first of all, and very quickly, hi, my name is Hila. I'm a senior DevOps engineer and I work for Wix. I have 15 years of experience in the tech industry, which means I've seen a lot of production incidents, and I managed a lot of incidents even when I wasn't on call, just because I have this structure process in mind. I'm a DevOps culture fan. I am very involved in the communities in Israel and globally, so I am part of the AWS Community Builders program, and I'm a HashiCorp ambassador. I actually gave a talk yesterday or Wednesday about Terraform, so I really an advocate of great tools that will help in our day-to-day. I am a co-organizer of conferences in Israel. The main one is DevOps Days Tel Aviv, and in my spare time, I'm lead singer in a cover band. As you can see in this picture, it is a lot of fun. Okay, so the agenda for today, as I covered before briefly, we will first discuss the mindset that you should have while managing incidents in production, an incident flow, any incident that you will have, and the structure process that you should follow along with questions that will help you progress to the next phase, on-call traits that you should have and how to improve them, and being proactive, how you can be proactive in your day-to-day and after incidents that will help you be more prepared for the next incidents to come. So, incident management is a set of procedures and actions taken to resolve critical incidents, and it's very important to realize that not all pages are incidents. So only basically pages that, or incidents that could cause to loss of revenues and stuff like that I will cover in a bit, are considered incidents. But the incident management process is a process that defines from end to end how incidents are detected and communicated, who is responsible to handle them, what tools are used for investigation and response, and what steps are taken for resolution. So, because of the fact that not all pages are incidents, we need to reframe our perspective. What is an incident? It's something that happens that will potentially cause to have loss in revenues, customer, and data, and even more things that business care about. And if you don't have incident management, then it will potentially means that you will lose valuable data. Downtime could lead to reduced productivity and revenues, and business could be held liable for breach of service level agreements, SLAs, and every business have it, and we want to make sure they don't breach it. So that's why we need to reframe our perspective to have business mindset. And I don't know if everyone here are developers or not, but we usually care about our systems, we care about the technology and the stack, but we need to think about the business itself as well. So systems and the focus on system is good, but we need to always understand the why. Why are we doing things in a certain way? How does it impact the business? And if it has any impact on revenues and customers and data, and even reputation loss for the business is very, very important. So the business mindset is needed to grasp the overall impact of incidents and to mitigate any damages that will potentially happen because of these incidents. So I want to cover here like the second phase of a business mindset, which means basically one thing. If we have incidents, it means that something happened, right? And we know some people say, hey, we are in an ad hoc kind of a situation and we need to put out fires, but we need to switch that from, we need to understand that we have incidents and we will always have incidents. And why is that? Because everything fails all the time. Who said it? I did, but also AWS CTO. And I can't quote myself, but it's just weird. And I also don't have the same reputation as AWS CTO. So here you go. This is a quote from AWS CTO. So everything fails all the time. What? Production systems, development environments, pipelines, things that we build, things that we buy, systems that we are that we base our ability to monitor other systems, they fail as well. And even us as human beings, right? We need to sleep. This is some sort of failure. We are crashing, we need to sleep, and then we can restart ourselves and continue. So everything fails all the time. And since we have this notion that everything fails and we expect it to happen, incidents shouldn't be like a mayhem. We need to expect things to happen. And then if something happens, I'm prepared to deal with it. So it's not put out files, I'm prepared to deal with it and I know what to do. And in order to know what to do, then we will have the structured process that I'm gonna show in a second. So a structured process could lead to incidents prevention, improved mean time to resolution, and eventually to cost reduction since downtime was reduced or eliminated entirely, and basically to preserve the business, customers, and reputation. And I will mention the business mindset quite a lot through this presentation because it's very, very important when we handle incidents. So, structured process, what does it actually mean? We have these pillars. I took the structure itself from on page, but I follow it always just without having it defined as is. And each pillar will have questions that will help you progress to the next section. So the pillars are identify and categorize, notify and escalate, investigate and diagnosis, resolve and recovery, and even incident closure is a pillar of its own, and there are things to be done while we are on this pillar. So during an incident, you can say, keep calm, I'm an engineer, all good. Or during an incident, you could also say, I can't keep calm, I'm an engineer. So everyone has their own way of doing things during an incident, but I say that you can keep calm if you ask yourselves the questions that I will show you here in each pillar that will help you manage the incident and progress to the next section. So first of all, in the identify and categorize section, we have these first questions. Do I understand the full extent of the problem? If so, this is awesome. I can dive in, start to investigate, and see what I need to be doing. But if not, I need to gather more information. Because if I have the alert, it doesn't mean that I know the effect. Again, business mindset, I need to understand if it's something major, critical, or not, and how it should be done, fast or not. So business impact is very important, and in order to understand the business impact, I need to understand the full extent of the issue. Then, after I understood it, I need to understand if, or check if this issue can be waited out, and I can wait to deal with it in business hours, or if it happened in the middle of the night, I need to fix it right now. If I'm not sure what's the case, I need to ask, use the information that you have, and escalate if needed. And because again, not all pages that we have are incidents. Maybe someone created a page and he didn't classify it in Ops Genie to be critical. It should be low, but he classified it as critical. It's not really critical, so change the severity as well. And basically, based on that, you will know what to do, whether it could wait or you need to fix it right now. And also about the issue, I need to understand if I was notified about this issue during or from proper or expected channels, like from an alert application like Opsgenie or PagerDuty or whatever. Or maybe I got the issue, I learned about the issue from customer complaint, which is not good, not for the business reputation, not for me, like if I got it from a customer complaint, it means that I have less time to fix the issue. And I want plenty of time, especially if I don't know if the root cause is very easy to find or not. So alert from PagerDuty, awesome, or any other application. A user complaint is bad, and we need to fix that. So after I fix the issue, I need to put a note to self to fix that. So create a task to make sure that I get this incident next time from the proper channels. Next pillar is notify and response. So we need to notify people that something has happened during the incident and in general. So during the incident, you need to classify it by incident importance, aka if the incident is critical, we need to tell support teams, customer engineers, stuff like that, because they need to communicate it to customers. And again, we need to think about the business. We have SLAs, we have the reputation. We need to make sure that we communicate things to customers as best as possible. And in general, I mean other teams or key focal points that care about these systems. Let's say we have other teams that rely on these systems that something happened to that system. They have other flows or something like that. So if there are other teams that care about the system that got impacted, we need to notify them as well, because we can help them if they have alerts of their own, they know what happened because we are part of the chain, or just because we are good and we think about others and not only ourselves. The third pillar is investigation and diagnosis. So first of all, I need to understand what information is relevant towards the incident resolution. And sorry, it's very small. I can't see. Okay, we need to focus on what's important right now. And focusing on the non-relevant information will throw you off route and make you lose valuable time during debugging, and we don't want that. We want to fix the issue as quickly as possible. And the thing is that I saw it happening a lot in incidents where people talked and they shared some information. I'm like, wait, the flow, the issue of the flow is the connection to the DB, right? So why are you talking to me about the beginning of the flow? So we really need to focus on what's important right now. Even if a flow comprises of a lot of parts, we need to focus on the relevant phase, not for us to fix it very quickly, but also if we need to escalate it to someone else. They don't care that all the other parts of the chain was successful. They care about the specific section that was getting break. So we need to focus on the information to save time and to fix the issue as quickly as possible. Another very important question is, after I dealt with the situation, I diagnosed it, I troubleshoot it. Did I find the root cause, and do I understand the root cause? If so, awesome, I can progress towards the actual resolution, but if not, I need to investigate more. And I also need to check whether the investigation takes time, and if it takes time, escalate, because again, we need to think about the business. We don't want the incident to take long. So if I don't know what to do, or I don't have any leads, let's escalate to another team leader, another team member, other team that will help me fix the issue for business management, to avoid breaching SLAs. And once I know the root cause, then I can detect possible remediation steps, and they can be determined, and even expose underlying issues. Because let's say, I assume some of you had issues in the middle of the night where you got an alert, service was down, and it was 4 a.m. and you just wanted to go back to sleep. So you connected to your laptop, start the service, and go back to sleep. We all want to go back to sleep, but if it happens again, if there's something more underlying issue that we have to expose, our hours of sleep is very important, but we are production gatekeepers. We need to take care of our systems. So you can start it once, but if it happens again, don't start it again. Just investigate, expose the underlying issue, expose the root cause, and then you'll know actually what to do, and not just do any patches. And I will cover it in a bit. So we understood the root cause, we escalated if needed, awesome. Now we need to think about the possible remediation steps and which one is best to take. And the best one to take is the fastest solution to eliminate downtime without compromising the system's health and stability. Why fast? Because A, we want to go back to sleep, the business mindset, again, we want the service to be up and running ASAP, but we need to avoid quick and dirty because it's not good for the systems if it's just a band-aid and not the actual fix. And I will cover it here. So if we decided, let's say we need to think about the action items needed for the actual resolution, okay. If it's the middle of the night and we see the issue is very, like, it needs further actions, we can decide, like me and the other team leaders, and I need to escalate and have everyone on board with me. If a patch is needed in the middle of the night, that's okay. But we need to make sure we will actually and permanently fix the issue and not leave it with a patch because Band-Aid could tear down, and we don't want that. So a patch is okay if everyone is on board, but we need to actually and permanently fix the issue. And we want to prevent recurring issue from happening again. Why? First of all, you don't want to wake up again. And second of all, you don't want the system to suffer. You want the system to be stable. And you don't want the business to waste more money or resources, because if the issue will happen again and again, you will waste your time fixing it again and again. So it's more resources of the business that just getting wasted and not putting into a good use. So preventing the recurring issue is a priority, and you need to make sure it is happening. And the last but not least, closure of the incident itself. So once we started with the incident, we know that we alerted some people, we notified people. Now I need to notify people that the incident finished. Why? Because maybe I thought I fixed it, but the customer still experience issues, and then I need to know something is still happening. So we need to be end-to-end communicators. If we escalate it to other teams for customer communication, we need to do it again for the other teams. So whoever you notified at the beginning, you should notify also at the end. Let's check the alerts, if the alerts were okay or they need to be tweaked, for example. If they need to be tweaked, don't wait for the next on-call to do it. Open a task and do it yourself, because we want to make sure we are alerted from the proper channels and the alert is as accurate as it could be. Is a relevant incident runbook in place, okay? Because sometimes, I hope that you have runbooks, when you have incidents, sometimes just troubleshooting is okay and enough, but sometimes you need to have like a judgment call when you fix something, aka if this happens, we need to do this, but if that happens, we need to do that, based on log errors or anything like it. So runbooks is a very good thing to have in these kind of situations. So if the runbook is in place, awesome. Let's check if it is updated, because I had cases where I follow a runbook to a certain point, and then after a certain point, it wasn't relevant anymore. So I wasted time to go to the developers and understand what's going on. But afterwards, I, of course, updated the runbook as well to prevent other people from wasting their time and not fixing it as fast as we can. Runbook, very, very important, and to make sure it is indeed updated. Let's see if I can also prevent similar incidents from happening again, because we said preventing not only recurring issues, but also other issues. Because let's say during the troubleshooting, I saw that the log rotate doesn't work as it should be. Let's open a task about it to fix it later on. It's not relevant to this during the incident, but I can put a note to self to fix it. So this is like a retrospective that you can do with yourself after an incident took place. So if I can prevent anything that I noticed during the investigation and could help potentially make my systems more healthy, then let's do it. And does the incident require a post-mortem? Post-mortem, for those of you who don't know, whenever there's a critical incident happening, we need to do a post-mortem a meeting, aka a meeting to make sure that we handled things as best as we could, and if not, what can we learn and improve? So it is a learning phase and not blaming. If you are in a company that postmortem is blame, switch companies. This is a very important, exactly. So this should always be a learning opportunity and nothing to blame, because we are human beings, we are doing whatever we can. So on postmortem, if you do need to have a postmortem because the incident was critical, jot down the notes as soon as possible, because I don't think it will come as a surprise. We remember things more clearly right after the incident, and not only 2 or 3 days afterwards. So try to write down the notes as soon as possible. And even if you don't have to have a postmortem meeting, still share the knowledge through a runbook, through a daily brief, because people can learn from your line of thought. People can learn from how you debug things, and sharing the knowledge could only help with other people, other team members. So please do that. And speaking about postmortems and critical incidents, let's talk a bit about war room conduct. I'll share a story to emphasize things. So there was a company where I worked for, and I was new at that company, like I don't know, a month in, something like that. And something very big happened, like AWS had this major outage, and it affected us. So then there was a Zoom, because it was during COVID times. There was a Zoom session. I only joined because I wanted to be a fly on the wall and just learn, because I was only a month in. And then I noticed their not behavior, but how they conducted things. So he talked about this, and he talked about this, and he tried to lure the conversation to something else, and everyone spoke about their areas of expertise, and not really progress towards resolution. And it's like, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes in the incident, and nothing happening. Nothing is useful is happening. And then I had to stop it and say, I unmuted myself and said, people, can I say something, just a sec? And then I explained nothing is happening from the outer perspective. And basically, I took upon myself to be an incident manager in this scenario. So I listened to the people a bit, and then I said, okay, you said that once we are up, the service should be started in a certain manner in order to really work, otherwise it wouldn't work, right? And we don't have a runbook for that, right? Okay, you go write a runbook, because if you wouldn't be available once the incident will finish, then we need someone to do it, and we don't want to rely only on you if you're not available. So write a runbook, how to start the service properly, and send it back to us. Let's check this, and basically I divided the work with all the people that were there, and then actually we started to have progress towards the actual resolution. So, and the incident manager is a person that will divide the work, tell people what to do in a calm and collected manner, because they should see things clearly. And also, the incident manager is someone that is not afraid to reduce people's involvement if it doesn't serve the purpose. Because in that story, we had several people. I told some of them what to do, and then I told the other guys, okay, I'm sorry, you are not needed here, please go away. Because we don't need the extra noise. We need to only have people that are doing something to serve the incident and fix it. And again, about too many people, we need to keep it minimal and dynamic. And if someone was needed at the beginning and not needed at the end, so thank you for your time fixing whatever you had to fix right now. Go away. We will call you back if we need you again. So try to keep it as minimal as possible, and always make sure there is an incident manager that manages the situation, because again, people will take it to wherever they want to take it, and we need someone from above to divide the work and see clearly what needs to be done. And we've spoken about incident manager. Let's speak about now the necessary qualities for being an incident manager. Of course, there are a lot of good qualities that you need to have, but I want to focus on these 10 ones because I think they are important, and I have tips for you how to improve them. So first of all, you need to think on your feet. And impromptu action taker. Sometimes the incident that you will have is something that you are familiar with, but sometimes it's something that is in uncharted territory. And you need to think on your feet and be ready for anything. And in order to practice it, you can participate in brainstorming sessions at work, and like it's a kind of a ping pong kind of things. And this will help you practice this trait and help you come prepared for incidents because you have it already practiced, and it's good because we always need to think things, especially when incidents are not something that we know what's happening. Next trait is differentiate relevant and irrelevant information. I spoke about it before, to focus on what matters right now, and I told you about the incident that we had where people just talked and talked and talked and nothing happened, and they didn't focus on what matters. So it's very, very important. And how do we know to focus on what matters? Basically, the more you know how a system works, the more your ability to separate the relevant from the non-relevant information increases. So always be familiar with the flows of the things that you manage at work, and that way you'll know exactly which flows are important, which sections and which parts are needed to be focused on while we have certain logs or certain errors during incident. So that's that. Operate under pressure. I have also another story here. So again, I was in another company. I also was new in that company, and it was my first on-call shift. And the first on-call shift was like a major incident where pager duty had like 200 or 300 alerts because other alerts triggered, a lot of them. It was my first incident, so of course I had my buddy and I asked him to come and sit with me. He came, sat next to me, and I'm like, okay, I see the alert. I start to explain what I see and what I think about and what should we do. And then I hear no response on next to me. And I'm looking at him, and he's like shocked. He's like this, looking at the screen, and he's like, oh my, so many alerts. So many alerts. I'm like, it was shocked. And then I dude, snap out of it. Snap out. It doesn't help us that you're shocked. Please, I know, a lot of alerts. Okay, let's continue. So this doesn't help, and we need to operate under pressure. And stress, we need to understand that stress is a symptom of being out of control. And collection of relevant data will help you decrease stress levels, because when you know what to do, you are in control. So in general, you need to keep a cool head and snap out of the uncertainty cloudiness. And when it comes to multiple participant incident, you need others to feel at ease. So in order to not be stressed, just, again, learn the flows, collect the information that you need in order to clear the fogginess in that situation. Another trait that is very, very useful here is to work methodical towards faster incident resolution, because why? Time is of the essence, and there is a pressure to solve things fast, and methodical work will help you gain a faster incident resolution because you know exactly what to do, you progress towards like the pillars that I showed you before. This is very important. You should be humble. If you are stuck with something, you should ask for help. Why? Because handling incidents is not your time to shine. Okay, this is what I mean by business mindset. We all want to be like the hero, save the day, but if we have the business mindset, we need to think about the business interests. So, AKA, solve the issue as fast as possible. So if I don't know what to do, if I'm not sure what's happening, I don't need to do like I'm on it, and then waste time for the company and have more downtime. I need to ask for help. And it's okay not to know how to fix an issue on your own. I don't think anyone expects you to know everything and to deal with everything. And the thing is that you have a lot of opportunities to prove yourself on your day-to-day. So the best way to prove yourself during an incident is to take a step back and escalate an issue that you can't resolve on your own, because this is the way you have the business interest in heart. Problem solver, whatever is needed, a can-do approach. So I dealt with people that when we had an incident and I suggested some stuff, they said, no, I don't think it's, what don't think? Try. Do you have other leads? If you have other leads, let's hear them out. You don't have other leads? Okay, so follow my lead and let's try some stuff. So the can-do approach, the positive approach to try some things and do things is very, very important, because this negativity of, no, I don't think it's related, it doesn't help if you don't really don't have any other leads in mind. We need to always be in motion and to keep towards a resolution of the incident. Sense of ownership and initiative. You escalated the issue, awesome, but still you need to make sure the person is on it. I had an issue where I didn't have anything to do because it was something on the DB. I escalated to the DBA, and then it was the middle of the night, 10 minutes, like crickets. I don't hear anything. I don't know what's happening. It doesn't tell me anything. I'm pinging him. Are you on it? Yes, I'm on it. Okay, cool. Tell me. I don't want to nag you. I want you to do your job to fix it, but you need to let me know that you're on it and you didn't go back to sleep. So being in ownership of the situation is very, very important, because if you escalated, you need to make sure they are indeed on it. And so even if you're on call, and even if you're escalated the issue, you're still responsible. This is something that we need to understand, and we need to have end-to-end handling. So always make sure things are being handled. Good communicator. So you need to explain the issue always, right? Like for others helping out, for customers, engineers to communicate it to customers, for escalation purposes, as I said. So communication is very, very important. But not all people are good with communication, and it's okay. Some people, always when I have stuff, I explain what happened, but some people have this fixed check now. You know these sentences in Slack? Fixed check now, that's it. Okay, it doesn't help me, but okay. So how can we be good in communication if we don't have it inherited or in us? So communication guidelines can be established, like a process where you can say what channels should be used and what content is expected in those channels and how communication should be documented. So if you don't have it in you to do it yourself, you can set up guidelines, and then you just follow a process of how to be communicative during an incident. Lead without authority. This is also another important trait, more relevant when you have more than 2 people involved. So if you are nice and you are confident and you make people feel at ease and project that everything is under control, kind of a facade, then people will listen to you and follow your lead. So it's more important in incident manager when there's a critical incident that we need more than 2 people to handle it. And this is the last trait, but it's not really the last. It's something that you should have doing everything. You need to care, okay? I couldn't stress it enough. If you don't care, you don't do anything like out of your box, or you don't you don't have the ownership because you don't care. I can't even explain it. I think this is enough, right? So if you care, you can achieve and do whatever you need to do. If you don't care, maybe you're in a burnout, maybe you're not in the wrong company or the wrong position, so have that in check. But caring is very, very important. Okay, so let's do a quick review of what we did until now. We covered the mindset, business mindset that is important for incident management. We covered the incident flow, structure, process of how, what pillars that we have and what questions that we should ask ourselves in order to progress to the next phase. On-call traits that we should have and how to improve them. And now I want to show you how you can be proactive both in your day-to-day and after an incident took place. That will help you already come prepared for incident. So, and why is that? Why do I want to show you that? Because, like the Fugees song, ready or not, you can't hide. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter if you are ready for incidents or not. PagerDuty, OpsGenie, VictorOps, any other applications will find you. So you better come prepared. So after the fact, after an incident took place, what can you do? First of all, on-call shifts handoffs. I'm not sure if it's something that's happening in every company, but it's basically like a summary that you have after a shift that you did as an on-call. Why is it good? For audit purposes, but also for team member success. Because if I have a recurring issue, I need to tell my team members that it was recurring, because if they will see it, they will treat it as a first-time issue, and they will they will waste time and they wouldn't do things in a certain way that should be done when it's recurring versus a first-time issue. So for the team member success and for audit, you should have an on-call shifts handoffs, basically to write down if stuff were recurring, if there were critical incidents, if something is waiting, like there is an incident and or there is a pager that is open for quite a while. Why? Because we're waiting for dev to do something. So they need to know it is handled. So these on-call shift handoffs is very, very important. And I really urge you to do it in a regular basis. Post-mortem notes, as I said before, write down the notes as soon as possible, because that way we remember things. And even if you don't have a meeting of a post-mortem, do a mental check, do a retrospective with yourself to see what you could have done better, because then you can be more better. You will deal incidents better afterwards. New tasks. So we need to prevent the next incident from happening and stabilize the environment. So if we have tasks that are that you detected can be done in order to fix things and prevent issues from happening, then you should do it, and you'll see that next incident wouldn't come because you are on top of things. Modify alerts. So fix false positive alerts, and please don't wait for the next on-call to do it, because guess what? They wouldn't do it. And they will wait for the next on-call, and they will wait for the next on-call. So if you detected a false positive or anything that needs to be tweaked, please do it yourself. It will be awesome. Incident runbooks, as I mentioned before, there are playbooks that will help you fix incidents and have the judgment call needed for a certain kind of flows. So if you have things that could be covered in runbooks, please do it and make sure they are updated. Automation, maybe you detected candidates for self-remediation. If so, automate it, and then you wouldn't need to deal with these kind of things later on. And if the issue is handled, share the knowledge, and more in depth than in an on-call handoff, because again, people can learn from your line of thought how you debug things. They can learn the flows of certain systems through your incident that you ran into and they didn't. So this could be beneficial for everyone. So that was after the fact, after an incident took place. Let's see what you can do in your regular day-to-day. So the on-call shifts handoffs that I mentioned before, I mentioned it before as you should be the one to write them, but I also say you should be the one to read them from other team members. Why is that? Because production happens all the time, not only when you're on call. So you need to be on top of things and know what happened in other times as well, in order for you to really keep up to date with what's going on. It is a handoff, it's a summary, so it shouldn't be that hard to read it on a regular basis, because it should be quite short, and it could potentially raise any other things like, hey, what's happened there? Can you elaborate, or stuff like that. So here is about to really read the other team members' on-call shift handoffs on a regular basis. Escalation point of contacts. So I assume that you know the needed pieces of information related to your realm. My realm is infrastructure. But I said that you should also know the point of contacts for other realms as well. So for developments, let's say there's services, I need to know which developers handle this service and other services. And why is that? To have the full picture. So let's say there's an issue with X. I checked my side of things. I see that everything is okay. Now I need to escalate. If I don't know who to escalate to, I'm wasting time doing an incident. If it's in the middle of the night, even worse. I need to maybe wake my team member up or my team leader to ask him, hey, who's responsible of X? And then they will be that I interrupted their sleep, which is not good. So if we know upfront who are the point of contacts that we can escalate issues to, then we will come prepared to incidents, and we wouldn't waste valuable time, and we wouldn't interrupt other people's sleep, and they will thank us for that. Understand systems architecture. So as I said before, knowledge is very important, and if we know the flows and we know things that are happening in our systems, it will help us fix things quicker. So we need to learn about weaker areas or vulnerabilities in our systems, because then we will. These are things that are prone to break first, right? So if we know about them, we are more prepared for them. And any sensitive or blast radius scopes that are in our systems as well, this is also something we should put an emphasis on. So when I said understand system architecture, these are things inside the system itself, but application flows are, I mean, things between systems, because usually systems don't operate on their own. They need to communicate with other things in the chain. So if we know application flows, then it will help us with troubleshooting, because I know exactly what needs to be checked, and I don't only rely on logs, and sometimes logs are not that indicative, as you probably know. So if I know the flow in advance, I can check the chain myself. And it will also contribute to the methodical debugging, because I know exactly what needs to be checked. I know who to escalate to if it's in a certain point of the chain, etc. Team members' tasks. So it is very easy to focus only on my tasks, but production changes throughout everyone's changes, not only mine. So you should get involved and be aware of latest changes that could potentially rock the boat, and learn how their tasks affect production. Because if I know, for example, this team member finished a task these days, and then I'm on call and something happened, maybe it's related to this change, right? So if I don't know about this change, then I'll be at loss, I'll be in the dark, and it will be hard to debug and link things together. So even other team members' tasks, as long as they touch production and they do things there, we should know about these changes as well. Tasks are regular day-to-day, and this is about deployments and changes in production specifically. And we basically need to ask about the changes and the possible impacts. And why is that? Because again, Ops Genie or VictorOps or PagerDuty, they don't care if you didn't do the change yourself. It will alert you anyway if you're on call. So might as well know what are the changes and how they impact production. And this is a bonus. Be a go-to person. So if you build it, they will come. If you act as a go-to person, you put yourself out there and you share the knowledge and you make people feel at ease to come and ask you for questions and to involve you in decisions, then you'll get push notifications, aka people will come to you, and it will decrease your need to fetch the information yourself on your own. So, to sum things up, in order to not only talk the talk, but also walk the walk when it comes to incident management, you should have your qualities in check, you should make the process structured, and be proactive, and that way you will come prepared to any incident that will cross your way and prevent the next incidents from happening. And less incidents means less downtime, means business success, and business success is, of course, your success. And plus, you get to preserve much needed hours of sleep, which is very, very important. So I think I have 2.5 minutes for questions if you have. So first of all, thank you for listening. And if you have questions, I'm here. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I assume if it's more than 1 week, the question was how to handle incidents that are more than 1 week. If it's more than 1 week, I assume it's not an incident, because if it was, yeah, it's something that's happening. So the communication is key here. So I need to check at all times, where do we stand? Do we really have a progress every time, or someone just dropped the ball and we don't really do anything at the moment? So we need to keep in check of what's going on, if it's really handled. If not, what are we waiting for? If we're waiting for, let's say, a GitLab or whatever tools, I just had GitLab in mind, but doesn't matter which third-party tool that should fix something. Okay, let's open like an escalation ticket for them. Let's make sure things are being handled. And not only handled, but things are communicative as such, aka this is very critical for us, this impact, the severity is 1, please handle it accordingly. So we always need to make sure it is handled, make sure we have a channel that updates people of what's going on, because usually if it's a week long, a lot of people care about it and not a specific team. So we have to have like a channels that communicate what's going on, if it's handled or not, and basically just be on top of things and see that things are being done to handle it, and if not, push it as we can. Did I answer your question? Yeah. Cool. Yes.
You talk about sharing the knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to know in your previous experience, to who did you share the knowledge? What was the size of the population, and how did you do it?
Okay, so usually sharing the knowledge is when it's incidents, it's for my team, because we are the people that manage the incidents in that scope. Depends on the incidents. Sometimes I also shared it. Sorry, I didn't repeat the question. Who did I share the knowledge to? This is the question. So mostly my team, but also other teams. Let's say there was stuff that is related because to other teams, because people could benefit from it as well, or they will run into it as well. Customers, engineers, if they need to, if it was a critical incident and we need to explain what happened, they wouldn't just settle with, okay, we fix it. No, they need to know what's going on. So share it there as well. And another thing is that I cover it in a different talk that I gave. In my day-to-day, I have like dev people and QA people reach out to me and ask for a lot of questions, like not in incidents, but in general, like how do I troubleshoot pods in Kubernetes and stuff that they have hard time in their day-to-day. So I collected all the repetitive questions, and I created the tips and tricks by DevOps document, and then I shared it with them. And that way, I enabled like self-service, because they could be independent and do things on their own rather than come to me and check some stuff. So this is like the basics. Mostly my team, if it's incident, and people that are on call for managing these incidents, but also dev if it's relevant for them, QA if it's relevant for them, anyone that could benefit from it, I will share the knowledge. Yes? The what? Yeah. I thought about it. So the question was, is incident manager is one person or should be a group of people? I say it should ideally be one person to divide the knowledge, but if this person or if the incident is big enough that relates to different scopes, like one in dev, one in DevOps, one in other teams, then have one incident manager in each team that like centralize the things in that scope, but still have one incident manager to make sure that everyone is doing their job. So like one on top to make sure everything is done, but still one in each team if it really is something that involves a lot of people that needs to do things. We don't have much more time, but I'll be just right side if you want to ask any other questions. Thank you so much.